The guys feeling ahead of what is a test match that's caught the imagination of the rugby world?
Guys are feeling good. It's been a great past 2 weeks. We came here early. We came here last week. We prepared here for 2 weeks, and we're feeling really good. There's a lot that we had to work on after Wales. Obviously, it's stuff that we spoke about in alignment camps, and we slowly starting to chip away to all the goals and stuff that we wanted to make better, going forward.
So quite often now we've learned with a box that when people write you off, especially before game against the All Blacks, and they talk about how terrible the box were, etc., etc., then you guys come up with a massive performance. So this year people are chatting, the talk is a bit different, perhaps that you're kind of marginal favourites. How do you guys feel about that? And you don't have that, that motivation that you guys often respond to well in terms of public perceptions and things. How will you deal? Can you deal with this scenario as well?
Yeah. See how we see it as a group is that we haven't won at home in 8 years, so that's our motivation this coming week. And to be honest, Steph, we can't control what's happening in the All Black camp. All what we can control is what we can do. And we, as this group, we've never beaten the All Blacks in South Africa, so we are that's what we want to do. That's our motive. We want to play really well and obviously get our plans, start with intensity. Against our plans work, and we want to test ourselves against them. They're an amazing side, they've just lost 2 games, in the past 3 games. So we've been on the other side too, So we know what it feels like. It takes one game for you to kickstart, So we're not chilling at all, thinking what everybody else is thinking. We're just focusing on what we must get right.
Coach, see now, since you guys have taken over, that the margins are very small. In 4 of the 5 games that you've played the All Blacks, 2 points were in it. I think at the World Cup it was different. What do you have to do to be on the right side of that margin?
Yeah, first things first, there's never such a thing as Springbok going to the All Black game as a favourite. I've never had that in the future, and the games between the 2 teams. It's always tough, like you've mentioned now, the past couple of years now, it's always nice and close and tight between the 2 teams. And we know the history of the game between the 2 teams. You can't underestimate anyone, because of, irrespective of what happened in the previous games that you played in that season. The All Blacks game against the Springboks is always something massive. But probably for me, it's actually the biggest game in the rugby world. The history tells you between the 2 teams, the World Cup trophies between the 2 of them, it's about 6 of them, so that shows that these are probably 2 of the best teams in the world, so we're not going to this game with the mindset of being favorites, no, not at all, because of the results from the Irish series between them and the All Blacks. It doesn't say much to us because of, once again, it took a world-class performance from Ireland to beat the All Blacks. So we can't underestimate them. You saw what happened in the first game. When Ireland were not in a good side on a day, All Blacks will put 40 points. So you can't go to this team playing against the All Blacks and underestimate them. They still got world-class players in that squad. Players that can, any country that can always make their test teams. So for us, we're not worried about the 2 points margin in between. We just want to make sure that we implement our plans. And I believe in this game, the team that will probably play the best according to their plan and be able to execute their plan for 82, 85 minutes will probably stand a chance to win this game. So we're going to have to be at our best to be able to win this game.
So we've also seen with the All Blacks so often, and the game that I always refer to for this is that game that you played them at Loftus in 2018, I think, when it literally looked as if you're putting them away.
Yeah.
But then they still come back. They don't go away. So how important is it to take that mindset in the second half? That listen, guys,
Yeah, that's what we've been actually talking about. Like, that's why coach said 82, 85th minute. gets to that because they're not going to stop. They're a world-class team. And they've got players in the starting team and on the bench who are game breakers, who can you can make something out of nothing. So we want to make sure that no matter what the scoreline is, we do what we need to do and what we plan to do. And obviously, if there's opportunity, we'll take the opportunity on the field, but making sure that we are always aware at all times because, they do things that spark up their game. They quick tap in their own half, and that sometimes lights up, when we played there a couple of years ago, a quick tap changed everything, then the score was 57-0 at the end of the day, it's things like that you got to make sure you alert at all times.
And with that said, Sia, as players, are these the moments that you live for? Playing against your biggest rivals in your own backyard in front of a capacity crowd. So are these the moments that you savor?
No, 100%. That's exactly what. When you were a kid, when you were watching, I remember watching at hostel at school at Grey, would fill up if you don't go home on the weekend, you would fill up the TV room and watching these kind of games, and you dream of being, in a game like this. And I think every single guy in the squad of 42, would love to be on the field tomorrow. We the selectors few that's got a job to do this weekend.
Coach, there's obviously perception out there that the changes within their coaching structure in the short time they would have had to implement whatever changes they wanted, sort of weakens them. What do you make of what's happened within the coaching structure at All Blacks?
Yeah, once again, Vata, we're not going to read too much on what's happening on the other camp, but if you had to look at their forward coach now who's currently just joined them, someone who's been working with the Crusaders players, and a lot of those players, they will probably want to perform for him because they've got a good working relationship from the Crusaders, so there's positives on it, and there's also on the other side maybe we don't expect them to change much in a space of a week or two, The All Blacks are All Blacks. They'll never change their DNA. Like Sia mentioned earlier on, the moment you switch off against them, they like the heavyweights in the boxing. If you switch off, you blink, you get a knockout punch. That's the All Blacks. The moment in a game you switch off a bit, where you start relaxing, they can put 3 tries within 5 minutes. So that is the nature of the team that we're playing against. And once again, also having an experienced coach like John Smith being part of their coaching staff now, I think it's going to give them a massive boost, And then we don't want to read too much on that, but All Blacks will always be All Blacks. They're a world-class side, and I enjoy also the respect between the two teams, So we've been focusing on what Sia mentioned earlier on. We've been focusing on getting better in where we left against Wales. We started slow, we understand. We started slow, we were 18 3 points down against Wales, and then we managed to fight back into that game. I think that's exactly what's going to require in this game. Yes, they're going to have special moments in this game. The All Blacks, they're going to have special moments, but the key thing for us is to stay in the fight for the whole 80 minutes.
Have you enjoyed the build-up to this game in the sense that there's been so much focus on the All Blacks and you've almost gone a little bit under the radar? How have you found that experience?
No, I don't think there was a different feeling in my mindset of how I normally prepare for test matches, even in the camp, how we prepared. There's nothing much we changed, We made sure that we do things the better way on how we normally do. We always want to improve, we always want to get better. But once again, when you talk about the match against the All Blacks, it's something from the young age, The first game, if you can ask me about my memory between the All Blacks, is always going to be the 1995 World Cup as a youngster, watching that game. So that game is there's always a special memory when it comes to that game, So for us, playing against the All Blacks, it's what we live for, It's what we live for. It's a special moment. We can't shy away from that vibe, And it's a massive game. It's a massive game, and I think this is what we live for, And I have to be honest and say, yes, I do enjoy the pressure going to the game.
How crucial are these two games and what you guys want to achieve in the championship?
They're massive, Vata, because of one thing. to be able to play against the All Blacks who've been dominating Southern Hemisphere for a while, do you understand? That's where you measure yourself. You know, if you can have a good start for us, you know, more especially building up to where we left against Wales, I think it will be a massive boost in our squad. Yes, that's one of the key focus things in our camp. We really want to have a good follow-up on where we left against Wales in Cape Town. And an honest truth, you know, probably in the next 3 games, you will be able to tell who's the best team in the world, you know, because I know a lot of people, they're talking about the Northern Hemisphere side being the best in the world. They, in the end of their season, they finished. They've probably got 5 games more than us. And I don't doubt at all in the next 4 weeks, the log will change, which is something that we don't normally stress about, you know, but I know it's been a hype out there that we All Blacks are not the best team in the world anymore. The Springboks are not the best team in the world anymore. But I can guarantee you now, in the next probably 3 to 4 weeks, things will change. The Northern Hemisphere side will be number 1 in the world. Sorry, the Southern Hemisphere side. Sorry, thank you for correcting me there.
Ian Foster said yesterday that he thinks this rugby championship is crucial for Southern Hemisphere sides, given what happened, England winning in Australia, Ireland winning in New Zealand, Wales winning for the first time here, that the Southern Hemisphere has almost got a point to prove. How much do you think that's true?
Not really. There's nothing much to prove to the Northern Hemisphere teams. This is about us in the Southern Hemisphere. And I don't doubt at all the team that will probably perform the best in the next 2 games will probably own the rights, you know, in the Southern Hemisphere. And like I said again, the team probably, if one team wins both these games, they will become the best team in the world. They'll be number 1 again. That's the honest truth about it, you know. And but once again, I know on the other side, when it comes to the All Blacks, they want to beat us badly. They're desperate for a win. And that will change things when it comes to their camp. That will give them a room. We've been there before in 2018. Do you understand? Everyone talks about the highlight of our season in 2018 was us beating the All Blacks in Wellington. They're in the same boat also. They're going through tough times, and you can't ask for any better team than to play against the world champs and prove your point in that. I think that is their main focus on the other side. You know, I know one thing for sure. We've been there also as a Springboks. They're going to be desperate to win against us, but we'll do everything in our powers to make sure that we also end up on the good side of the scoreboard.
So yeah, just 10 years, well, 8-9 years ago, was you were very bold back then.
Very bold, yeah, no beard.
Very young, playing here your first game here, just to come back here now. After all that, it's been quite a journey.
Yeah, no, it's been a journey.
Those days.
I know. Yeah, it's a game I'll never forget. I'll never forget that game, and it was special for me. And it's been a journey with a lot of ups and downs, and yeah, but I wouldn't change it for anything. And I think it's my first time playing a Springbok jersey since that game. But yeah, I'm excited. It's a special stadium for me. Hopefully, I can play as best as I can tomorrow, and do my bit for the team to hopefully get the win tomorrow. I think the most important thing is we just want to win at home. As this group, to get through that. I mean, it's been 8 years. I can't believe it. We have a World Cup, but we never win against the All Blacks at home. So I'm looking forward. The battle is going to be tough. And Coach Stock said last year we were the same place. We lost 2 games against Australia, and then we lost the 3rd one against New Zealand. We had to fight and find our way back. It's a similar thing. Then it takes a day for people to change the whole team's mentality. If you get through, and it has to be like there's no test that will be better for the All Blacks. So that's why I know they'll be up for this game, and that's why we've just been focused on what we had to do.
Coach, I know this is, I suppose this is not something one can do about now, but you guys didn't play rugby in 2020, so you didn't have that growth phase straight after the World Cup, which I think is probably to your disadvantage if one looks now. How important do you think that this rugby championship this year can be for that growth of the team to kick on to the World Cup? Like Sia mentions, 8 years with the All Blacks, 9 years also with the Wallabies away.
Yeah, I think for us growth is very important, and we still want to develop as a team. As you can see that when we had an opportunity against Wales, we gave a lot of youngsters an opportunity, even the guys that are also have been with us that haven't got an opportunity, So I think now we don't have an excuse about it. There's no pandemic anymore. We don't have an excuse now, We're getting a fair opportunity where we can just play and we can plan according to the season. That's exactly what happened when we started against Wales. We played well the first game, and it gave us a room for us to try and give other players also an opportunity, And I think the plan that we had then, it worked well for us. I know it's not nice for us to lose against Wales for the first time in South Africa, but there's a lot of things that we've achieved as a country. If you look at the players that were given an opportunity, And if it wasn't for that game, I don't think we'll have the answers that we've got now when it comes to a guy like Ketley Arends. Do you understand? That is one thing that people don't understand. We want to build a squad where we don't have to have sleepless nights when it comes to one player in your match 23 gets injured and then you don't know where to go to, So we've gotten answers in that game. We know players that we can rely on. We know players that have got what it takes to be able to perform at this. Ketley Arends, one opportunity that was given, I feel like he grabbed it with both hands. He could show that he's got a big heart. And now he's starting against the All Blacks. So I'm very, very happy also for him. And once again, on the other side, congratulations to Malcolm Marx, who's going to be playing his 50th game. It's fucking massive sorry for the language. It's actually massive for him. I've been there at the beginning with him when he played his first game. I think it was in Christchurch when we lost to the All Blacks, And funny thing, life sometimes it's got a better way to find its way. And now he's playing his 50th game against the All Blacks, Congratulations to Malcolm Marx, and he's been massive in our team. And I'm very happy for him and his family also.
Sia, you guys have now had a training session and you've had the captain's run at the stadium. What's your opinion on the facilities and the pitch at Mzwandile Stadium?
I love it. I honestly think it's one of the best that we have in the country, and the pitch is amazing. But I think you probably have to ask more the props about that, because that's the most important thing. If we can scrum on it, then it's perfect. But I really do enjoy it, and the facility is amazing. I'm really looking forward to playing tomorrow. I think the weather is going to be good tomorrow, so it's going to be a good day for rugby.
Currently is giving away about 30 kilograms to his direct opponent. Do you think there's a little bit of romance in that also? Playing against the All Blacks and this proverbial mountain to climb. I know weight isn't.
Yeah,
I think players have
you won't be thinking about that. He won't be thinking about that at all. Because he trains against guys. He has to tackle us at training. We have probably more than that, but he won't be thinking about that. I think his focus will be just on doing what he needs to do. For us as a team. I'm really excited for him. He's worked hard. And I thought he played well against Wales. The tackles that he had to make, on the eighth man Falatau, on the kicks, So the thing is, you can't coach hard and you can't buy hard, and he has that, And that's what we have with our guys. And then his speed is obviously that you can't buy too, and and that's what we get checked on, as a team, your effort and how big your heart is when you get tested in front of you. So, and he will have Lucanio and Damien inside him, and Damien Willemse outside him too. So,
I think also, just to add, to add on the question of the size and the challenge that Ketley. Remember, he comes from a sevens background. If you watch the Commonwealth Games finals between the Fijians and the Blitzbog, if you look at the size, you probably. The weight of the Fijians are double to the Springbok Blitzbog. And you saw what happened on the day. It shows that that's one thing I know about Ketley. He comes from a seven environment where there's no place to hide there. Each player probably has about 10 to 15 meters to cover around himself. And when there's a big guy there, there's no place to hide. So he comes from that background. We know that he's got a big heart. I'm not worried at all about that. Yes, even if he misses a tackle, he's got a mindset where he's going to keep on fighting. So I know it's a massive thing. Some people, they like to focus. Cheslin Kolbe has proven to everyone. He's one of the best players in the world. But everyone thought, okay, maybe this guy doesn't have the size to play 15 games. And he proved people wrong. Kwagga Smith comes from the sevens background. Kwagga, when he comes on the field now, he doesn't have a problem with size. he goes full out. So that's one thing on the other side. People focus on the sides, but they forget about the heart of the player. And that's one thing that I feel like a guy like Ketley Arendse, that's where he's special. He's got a big heart. He's got a big heart. And like I said earlier on, I'm happy for him that he got an opportunity. And you can't ask for any better game, to measure yourself in your career than to play against the All Blacks. And I know it's going to be a massive occasion. The people of Mbombela, I've heard already the tickets are sold out. It's a massive vibe. This is one of the games that I think he will never forget about this game in his life.
Sorry guys, just on a separate issue, while I've got you both here, doing a tribute to Tyibilika, if I could just get your thoughts on how he inspired you in your careers,
Sure.
both of you.
You go first.
Sure. He was
used to carry his bag and boots.
He was the first Springbok that I got to witness play as a youngster at school. He went to Loiso, and it was three streets away from my house. And I would be playing in the street, and I would hear like singing, and I would stand on the roof of my house, and I would see people at the school, and I would run, and people would just come to watch him. In that area, like Coach Stick would tell you, there were a lot of good guys, but he was always that's who everybody came to see, because that's who we believed in for our community. And he played for a club that's Spring Rose. That's
say the name.
Spring Rose. He played for Spring Rose, but we used to go when I see at the roof that he's playing, I would run to the school, and I would sit outside and would fight to carry his bags, and his boots, as the children would sit, and they would just sing for him. And he was just next level, how good he was. And then obviously seeing him play for the Springbok, that just switched the light on for me, to say, like, somebody like him who came from 3 streets away from me that I used to watch, he can make it. It's possible for me too. And then I got to play with him. I played against him when I was 15 years old. He played for Spring Rose. He was at the Lions then. He played for Spring Rose, and I went to Hillbrow with my team. We stayed at Hillbrow, and we were playing at Wits. Then one of the guys got injured, and I was just a water boy. And they looked at me, they said, we need a loose forward. Then I came, and we were playing against Tyibilika. And I remember he grabbed me by the throat that game because I handed him off. And he wasn't obviously happy. He heard how young I was. And then later on, when I was in matric, I played with him. I played for Spring Rose. I bunked out of school, and I went to go play for Spring Rose, and I played with him at the game. And then I remember a fight broke up, and then he pushed me aside. He says, "You don't get involved. You just play," and he protected me there. And every time I've seen him, I remember he played against the All Blacks. He got man of the match, and he swapped jerseys with Richie Makon. The whole township was inspired, and things like that I take with, he's the first Springbok too that I got to touch and see, and then see him progress through. And those are the memories that I take with me from Putsol.
Brilliant, thank you.
Yeah. What a special gentleman. For me, it's personal when it comes to Tyibilika, because it's someone that I've, as a youngster, grew up in New Brighton, played at the same club. He probably lives down the road about 2.5 kilometers away from my house. And in New Brighton, we all wanted to be Tyibilika because he was a brilliant rugby player, and also a good brother to everyone in our club. And I've became a close friend to him, and we became brothers. We've shared a house together when I moved to Durban. I'll never forget. Soli treated me like his brother, but at times because of my stubbornness. And then that's one thing between me and him. He will always shout at me that I always think that I'm bigger than him, because of that amount of respect that we had amongst each other. And I will never forget my first trip when I moved to the Sharks. We took a road trip to Durban, me and Soli, and that moment is something that is always in my head. So we were sharing also a house together. And the funny thing, today I can drive. So he taught me how to drive in his Toyota Tez, and he wasn't worried about the traffic. I remember there's a busy road in Durban, which is it's got taxis and trucks. Is it in up the stadium? There's that famous road, Mgeni Road. That's the one. So he taught me how to drive in Mgeni Road, and I will never forget that moment. So that was a type of Soli man he was towards me. He was a big brother. He was protective around me, and I was the same to him also. We had great special memories together, and those are lifetime memories that I'll never forget. And once again, people don't understand there are certain things that are motivating us to be better every day, and Tyibilika is one of those people. Whenever in this environment, he's one of those guys that I live for. I live for people in New Brighton. I live for people from the disadvantaged areas. When you get an opportunity, Soli showed us, if you work hard, that's one thing that I know with that gentleman.
Sure.
He will go on a big night and wake up 4 o'clock in the morning after sleeping for 3 hours, and he will smash 10 kilometers like with the proper. So we used to exercise together, and he was a machine, and that's one thing that I've learned from him, and I think that helped me also in my career, And I hope wherever he's sleeping now, he's sleeping in peace and his soul is in a better place. And I know for sure that when I've lost Soli as a brother, I know I've gained a guardian angel. What a gentleman. Like Sia saying, his name will live forever. I'll never forget the first try that he scored against Scotland in Edinburgh. That is something that is special for me as a person, and that is something that I promise him wherever he is now, I will always try to be a better person in life. Thanks to everything that he has taught me as a person, and also the strong mindset to make sure that you keep on working hard. And that's what Soli was to us. He was a motivator, he was a big brother, and he would, like Sia was saying, he was very, very protective. So may his beautiful soul rest in peace.
Yeah, if people like him went there for us, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have somebody I would play in the street as him, do his handoffs, and that's what we do after games when we see. And I think we take it for granted, and it's hard to come out of that, the mindset that you grow up, you have to grow, and you become, a little bit more, but you can also get stuck in that mindset. And for us, if you can see the person and touch them, and then you see them get there, and it makes you feel like it's possible for you to get there. And I don't think we celebrate people like that enough, and look after and cherish. I told Coach, without the mentors that I've had in my life, I don't know where I would be. And there's far better talent in the communities, than we see. A few of us get bursaries, but there's a whole lot more that's there. That's why we go back and we start tournaments, because we want people to get to see the talent that's out there in the communities.